Who's it gonna be? Drop your guesses in the audience chat room. Let's see who it is.
Hello, where am I? What is this? What's going on?
Who is this, and what brings you here?
Is this Papa John's Pizza? I want to get a large pepperoni. I'm at 400 Main Street, Marion, North Carolina, in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains.
All right, who is it? people
Oh,
people are guessing.
yeah. You got to get my name right. This is Sir Cork, but I want a large pepperoni. Can you get it here quick?
I can't, but somebody else might be able to.
This isn't Papa John's?
No, it is not.
Shit, I think I dialed the wrong number. Well, who's this?
This is the main event interview show on MSP Waves Radio. You are on the air, sir.
Did I win?
Yes.
Awesome. What's going on, main man? How you doing, dude?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to have you on the show here. We've got a bunch of people listening.
It's great not to be in charge of a show.
Right? Have you jumped on like someone else's show yet? I'm sure you have. But
Negative. You're the first guy to get a hold of me and put me on the air and hold me at gunpoint. So don't hurt me, okay?
No gun points, but no.
I'll shoot back.
He knows he knows he has the full capability to just disconnect at any time. So
I have the full capability to unload 3 magazines before I go to my car for another one. But anyway, all right. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So why don't we try to interview you a little bit? I'm curious. I'm sure you've been interviewed a few times. I heard one of your other interviews that you've done there, not related to Steemit, but so I know you're used to doing interviews. But let me just ask you a few of the same type of things I ask people that are on the show. How's that?
It sounds complicated. Let's begin.
Oh, you can handle it. I know you can handle it. The other thing, I mean, we could talk about anything really, because you and we've done the DJ thing. This is the first time we maybe have. I'm not sure how many of the DJs are listening right now. I know we've got a few, but this
shout out if you're a DJ out in the chat room. Let's see who's paying attention to the pros right now, yo.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious too, because I mean, this conversation could go a few different ways. I'm sure. Depending on who's listening and things like that. But I know JJ's out there, Mirror Image is still there, Shadows Pub, Michael David, let's see, Rondon's out there. So
somebody go tell General Chat that people are on the radio, for goodness sake.
Right? I can make you on the air too.
Nifty. Looks like Crimson's listening. That's great. Rondon's he's watching. Rondon, it's radio. Your eyeball icon is not going to help you, bro. I think this is what you get for bringing the back office guy to the front of the radio, man. He doesn't know what's going on.
Usually it's Shane that'll appear with that thing. Isn't that his icon?
I think that's actually a blue eye. That's Samo's eye or Crimson's eye. They have blue eyes.
I see.
I'm not sure.
I see.
Whatever. People that don't know what we're talking about don't know what we're talking about. So
okay.
Let's move on.
So, Sir Cork, what brought you to Steemit anyway? Like, how did you make your way over here?
People ask me that all the time, and I honestly don't remember. Now, I can tell you that yesterday was my 100th day on Steemit. I've only been here for 3 months and 1 week or whatever. And I remember that, I'm into crypto, and I was trading on Bittrex and doing a lot of stuff with like StoreJ and Sia Coin and library credits. I'm into Bitcoin, but I'm into coins that are cheap and that have practical purposes. And that's relevant because whatever blog I was reading about storage and Sia that are coins about hosting companies and things like that, application-based coins, led me to learn about Steemit. I don't remember where or when. I signed up, and it took like 4 or 5 days to get no response from registration. I opened a service ticket, and 24 hours later, I received the authorization to come in, but I never saw the end of the service ticket. The service ticket disappeared. It was like such bullshit. But I finally got in, and it was on June 12th of this year.
So officially 100 days on the platform for Sir Cork, everybody.
I think, let me double check that while you're talking. But
give or take,
yeah,
either way.
It's kind of interesting because as we go through the story, it may surprise people that I haven't been here that long.
And this is where I was going to go with that, because I know when I hear and look at all the things that you've accomplished on the platform so far with other people, of course, and as a group, But you've only been here 100 days. A lot of other people haven't been here very long either, and those are the people who seem to be rising to the top and becoming leaders. And hopefully, that's a sign of things to come for Steemit. Is kind of what I'm hoping, that these new people that are coming in.
Hey, Maine, I
What?
have to interrupt you. Today is my 100th day. Right
Oh,
now,
happy
you put me
100th
on the
days.
radio for my birthday. Yay!
Yeah, 100 days, triple digits.
Super cool.
We're getting old now.
Sorry to interrupt, but when I got it loaded up and I saw that it was actually today, it was like, wow. It was the first time I had realized it, and I'm just sort
it's
of
it's meant to be.
flabbergasted. Wow, 100 days.
Cool. But yeah, no, I think I just passed over the 125-day mark or so. So I'm just a little bit ahead of you. But yeah, no, and it doesn't seem like it's only been 100 days, does it? It probably feels like a lot more than that.
It feels like 100 years, and we'll get into why and how, I'm sure, throughout your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've been extremely busy on the platform doing tons of things, not just the radio stuff, but so you're doing, do you want to mention not all the things, like what do you want to mention some of the things you're
Do you want me
doing?
to give you my resume real quick, or
Basically, I mean, there's probably people listening out there who maybe don't know you. I know we just had a bunch of listeners come over from a few other channels, so we definitely probably have a few people out there who maybe aren't familiar with you. So go ahead and let them know who you are.
All right, so two questions. Do you only want to know about Steemit stuff? And the second question is, how long do you got? Do we have a show after us?
Let's stick
Because
to
you
the
know me,
Steemit
I
stuff
can
for
do two
now.
hours without stopping on the first question. So
Let's
we
stick to
want to
the
keep
Steemit
keen.
related stuff.
Okay. So in general, yeah, I came here because I was into crypto, as we said in the first question, and I am from the technology background. So I had a huge advantage when I arrived. I knew how to work a chat room. I knew how to work a blog. I knew how to work all the tools. And I knew how to use the tools that exist to find the rest of the tools and learn how to use those. So when I got here, I wasn't quite as lost as the sort of average person who is only kind of an internet user and doesn't really know technology. With that in mind, I dove into it kind of with purpose and mission to build a blogging enterprise around it. I'm a writer. People have read my blogs and they've done okay, for the amount of followers I have or whatever. They do all right. So I came to write. That was really the goal. I also came to escape Facebook, where I have a huge following and I also have a huge fan page for a business. So I've got about 5,000 people over there that I can reach and talk to, but it's not a blogging platform. It's a show pictures of your lunch platform and talk about your kid's soccer game platform and whatever. So I wasn't interested anymore. The politics had gotten really bad over the last year with the whole presidential race. I'm not going to get into which side I was on or any of that, but the point was I didn't really like any of my social media outlet options anymore. Starting a standalone blog these days is still possible and still can be financially rewarding, and I've done that and been financially rewarded by it as well over the course of my career, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be. So I got into trading Bitcoin and stuff and all the other ones. And I landed here and I said, oh my God, this is kind of the fulfillment of what I wanted to do with my writing, what I wanted to do with my cryptocurrency, modest interests and hobbies. It fulfilled so many interest areas for me that I just dove into it, right? Well, I said I joined on June 12th. And I believe if we checked correctly when I was once removed from PAL in a joke, we reset my data and we had to go back and look what it was. So I didn't know what day I joined PAL, but I found out, I think it was June 17th. So I got to the platform and I spent about a week just kind of finding my way around. And I knew better than to start making massively large moves on the platform. I started to get to know people, hung out and introduce yourself a lot, and just wrote comments. I kind of knew a little bit about environments like this from Reddit and 4chan and Facebook and all the other places. What was the question?
I love just sitting there listening
Oh,
to
my
you. That's so
resume,
funny.
resume, right. So what have I done since, right? The total kind of the end game. We're gonna
Yeah,
jump
like
right to
if
the
you
end.
want, let people know about the radio station kind of thing. And I know
Yeah.
you're a witness as well, so those are probably pretty important things to mention.
Yeah, so I am a witness. Now that didn't happen until, as it turns out, and I just wrote a witness update today. My server's been up for 28 days. So I've been on the blockchain for 100 days today. I've been a witness for the last 28. So roughly a third of my time here has been spent as a witness. Like I said, I didn't make fast, wide brushstrokes when I first got here. I figured out the platform. I figured out the communities. I figured out the people. I figured out the etiquette. I figured out what I was going to be here was a part of this community in PAL and MSP. So I joined PAL and MSP, and I think that's the biggest accomplishment, really. Forget all the achievements. The best thing I ever did here was join PAL Network and MSP, the Peace of Bunch and Liberty Network, and the Minnow Support Project, because that gave me the real-time interaction with human beings that allowed me to find out things faster about what I wanted to become and do. And you can read the blogs about my entrance here. It wasn't pretty, but into the group. I mean, I came in with that outside internet mindset, trolling and, fighting your way to the top of the food chain kind of environment. And so I came in and I got settled into the group and started to get course corrected in my behavior. And it's still not perfect and it never will be. But along the way, I learned about witnessing and I met witnesses and I got to know them and I learned about moderating and I learned about how the group worked. So the first thing I attempted to do was become a witness. And 28 days ago, I bought a server and I found a fella named Dracos over in the Steemit chat witness channel who helped me establish my server in a couple of hours. Wonderful guy. I've interviewed him. Well, actually, I've asked him to come to an interview. I've written about him in the blog, but I haven't had him on the radio. And I got Dracos to help me out. So I got set up pretty quickly because I had a fantastic expert helping me. And then I started running my witness. And, I started out, I think Shane helped me figure out my first number. We all worry about our witness rank number, which is important when you're a witness because that's how you earn income, is reaching the top of the witness sort of leaderboard by votes from the users. And I was 189th or something on my first day, which is not tragic. And I'm not sure how your first number is determined because there's apparently thousands of witness nodes out there. Some of them are unheard of. You'll never know they exist. They're just nodes. But the ones that make it towards the top begin to get charted on websites. And so Shane finally found me on the first day or two at 189 when he was checking his number and he was curious and he looked me up. And then I think just a couple of days later, I had moved up to like 160 and then I was suddenly in the 140s and the 120s and I kind of stagnated for a week. And then one day Shane came to me because he pays attention to his number every day. And I managed to check mine every day or two. I'm not as, I don't want to say compulsive as Shane, but I don't have time to be everywhere every day. So I wasn't checking my number absolutely insanely every day. And Shane would pop in during my radio shows and say 97 or whatever, which is where I am today. I am now number 97. I've made it into the top 100, which is a big deal, but not a huge deal. In small, medium, and large terms, that puts me above the fold. It puts me on the main lists at all the websites. So now when people look at the witness list, they see my name in the top 100. Most of the list the top 100. So being a witness is a big deal because we're the people with the machines that you interact with when you interact with Steemit and busy.org and ChainBB and SteamDB and SteamD and all of these websites that you use every day to interact in the Steam ecosystem all rely on the witness servers to manage the transactions that comprise your financial transactions, your blog posts, your comments, and everything else. And they're like any blockchain in the cryptocurrency world that you can research outside the scope of this radio show, very critical to the infrastructure. So it's kind of cool. I'm part of the engine of Steam. I'm a Steam engine. I'm like a spark plug in the motor, like, I don't know. It's kind of just like I'm part of it, and it feels really good. So witnessing is cool. Then once I became a witness, that, and I'm leaving the step out, the radio station itself. But let's finish the other two things because they're shorter stories. And you and I can talk more about the radio throughout the interview because we probably will. But the witnessing is a big deal to me, and that's a personal pursuit that I do. Now, my intention for the witness income when I finally make some, which won't happen until I get into the top 50 or better, is to put all of that money back into the radio station in delegation or in straight Steam or liquid Steam so that I can take care of operational costs and things like that. So that's how I'm planning to help fund the radio effort with my input. Now, other people are helping as well. There's a lot of expenses involved in the radio. Now, the witness is cool. Being in PAL Discord and getting the visibility that I got here led to a chain of events in which Agrode came to me, and I do have to mention the radio now to get the sequence right. Agrode came to me and said, Cork, I got this idea I understand you're very technical. And I said, don't, I don't understand it. No, but whatever. Anyway, we joked around and he asked me if I could build a radio station. I said, a radio station? Are you kidding me? I used to be a DJ for years. And I've done FM radio in Colorado, KD&K Carbondale, Redstone, Aspen Carbondale. I did real radio. I did AM radio. I did FM radio back in the 90s. And I did public radio on cable. And then I did a mobile disc jockey business for several years where we were the largest mobile disc jockey business in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area with 8 DJs in the field. We had 3 shows a piece a weekend. So we were doing, 24 shows a weekend in the Washington area. And those shows were weddings and parties and bar mitzvahs and school dances and corporate events and conventions and things like that. We joked the other day on your show about eating lots of wedding cake. I don't remember. Anyway, lots of wedding cake. I've consumed a lot of wedding cake. I've DJ'd probably, I don't know, close to 350, 400 weddings. And so it became obvious that that was an opportunity for me to be involved when Agrod approached me on it. I don't know why he picked me originally. I think he thought I was a programmer and I could somehow program a radio station. He doesn't understand what it ended up taking. So we dug into this project, ultimately leading to the story I told on Monday Night Minnow School, which I'll be posting that eventually, where you can hear the whole history of the radio station. But ultimately, building a team, getting the service established, getting the legalities taken care of. We play commercial music. We pay the royalties and license fees. So became a witness, built a radio station, won a Medal of Honor from PAL MSP for building the radio station, along with you, Maine. And that's why your name is Yellow when you're not a DJ, and Rondon. The 3 of us put in the effort, and Agrod awarded the 3 of us with the Medal of Honor for building the station. And then after that, of course, I'm just doing my job with the radio, and I'm witnessing, and Medal of Honor winner. At some point, Agrod said, Cork, you need to become a mod now. That's just the next logical step. And I said, no, I don't want to be the hall monitor. I want to break the rules. I don't want to enforce them. That's not me. No. And he kind of twisted my arm. And now I'm a junior mod, which I was told would be for a while. And then I would be, after training and stuff, they move you on up to a regular moderator. So I'm kind of a mod in training, And so I am now, if you qualify all of that, I am a Steemitizen. I don't use the word Steemian. I don't like it. I'm a Steemitizen, a citizen of Steam. Steemitizen, Medal of Honor winner, witness, radio station founder and general manager, and co-founder with Agrod, and a junior moderator. Those are the 5 things that I would call titles that I have in my resume on Steemit. And I'm a blogger, and I'm a heavy commenter. And if you look at the numbers on that, somehow I fit in a tremendous amount of that for 100 days. If I go back to my blog, I can tell you that in 100 days, I've built 1,107 followers. I've got 3,771 posts, but I'm only following 200 people, and you're probably all in the room. So if I'm not following you, let me know if you're in PAL MSP. Hit me with a DM. I'd be happy to. That said, getting 1,107 followers to me is a big accomplishment because every single one of those was organic, and it was not in a follow for follow trade or a beg. That was going out there and doing the work every day. It works if you work it, commenting, talking to people, being in the chat rooms, being in the community, being visible, and making friends. And those 1,107 followers are basically people that I've met and interacted with in the various environments here. So I'm pretty proud of that number, almost more so than every other accomplishment. So humble brag, 100 days, 1,107 followers. That's 100 followers a day. Not bad. Actually, it's 110. So that's my favorite stat and the one that I consider my personal metric because that's the one that says you guys like to pay attention to me. Strokes my ego, pays my wallet, and most importantly says I offer something of value that people want to see. And that's why I feel good about that number. So that's my resume. What's up?
Well, there you go. And I'm sure, like I said, there's probably a bunch of people out there listening maybe that didn't know who you were, and now they do. You're definitely a very busy person on the platform, but I know it's all appreciated by a lot of people, myself included, of course.
Let me qualify that again and interrupt you. I'm so sorry, but I get these thoughts that I want to stay in the same question on before you go to the next one.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't mean to be rude, but it's very important that I say this. So my accomplishments in 100 days are insane. They're irrational. And they've cost me health. They've cost a lot of toll on my personal life because in addition to doing all the things I said, there's the constant interaction with these 1,100 people. There's chats and DMs and just joking around and very serious things that occur. There's meetings to attend. The reason I point out that it's irrational and a little bit insane, I'm not manic and I've been diagnosed with nothing. I mean, I've actually had myself checked. There was concerns about my behavior at times in my life because I don't sleep and I don't eat normally. I've had tests and I think I'm okay. It's just that I'm really mission driven. And so here's the part that I want to qualify. I do own my own company. I have an outside income. I own a software company that is pretty successful, actually. I have outsourced almost 100% of my operations. Actually, I would say 99% of the operations that I don't do myself, which is client management, client interface, billing, and accounting, and things like that, administrative stuff, is completely outsourced. And it's in India, so I'm up all night. I'm really used to working from midnight to 6 a.m. with my teams via Skype. There's not a lot of need for interaction. We have a very rigorous meeting schedule at 6:30 a.m. every day. I'm in a stand up for 15 minutes, and that's a weekly deliverable and calls with the client on ad hoc basis, So, and then there's one stand up meeting with the client per week. And the client is singular. He's someone I've known since second grade. We're building a multi-million-dollar product and selling it to multi-billion-dollar companies. So it's a pretty fortunate position. I live off grid in the mountains in North Carolina in a tiny house, which is a unique feature of my life. I have no plumbing at my house, no indoor electricity. I have solar panels and a spring head, creek, for those of you who don't know what a spring head is. I get my water in buckets from a pool. What I do at the house, I spend most of my time at the office building I own in town. So for me to achieve 1,100 followers in 100 days, 110 people a day. For me to achieve building a commercial global radio station with over 70 hours of live programming a week and 24 DJs and 22 shows with it is for not me, but a team of people to have done that. People that lifted me up and put me here. It wasn't me. It was everyone's contribution that got me here. But the point is, I was able to do it in an abnormal rate because I live an abnormal life. And I don't want people in the audience right now to get upset and go back and say, I joined the same day as Cork and I've got 12 followers. You know what I mean? That's okay. You might work at a shift job where you're there 12 hours a day for, 4 tens or whatever your life is like. And, you give what you can give, but you'll get what you give. So I give all. I'm here 20, 24. I have slept 90 minutes since the last time I slept. And Ron and I were talking about it earlier. Rhonda and I were talking about when did I sleep this week? Sunday night, I slept overnight. I woke up Sunday morning. From Sunday morning until Tuesday morning, as far as we could tell, I had not been to sleep. I slept for like 4 hours, not even four, about 2 hours on Tuesday morning, between about 4 a.m. and about 5:30 before that stand-up call. And then I worked again all day and on Steemit stuff and all night with my Indian guys and Steemit stuff. And I usually moderate more at night than I do in the daytime in the chat room because there's not as many mods there and slower. It's easier for me as a new guy. And then I slept like 90 minutes this morning. At some point after the stand-up call, I laid down for an hour and a half. So I do 2 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep here and there. Now, there's a school of thought that says that's actually a circadian rhythm that you can put your body in, and mine's been in it for months, if not years. So not many people can achieve what I achieve at the rate that I achieve it. And don't hold yourself to my standard. That's very important because you probably can't do it. And I don't mean that to belittle you, but if you work 40 hours in an office and you commute an hour each way, I have a 50-hour advantage over you right there. Then you sleep a normal rate of 6 to 8 hours a night. I have another, 30-hour advantage. I have 100 hours in 5 days on this platform that most people are at a job or sleeping. So don't always look at these numbers and think, wow. Just think, I had 3 times as much time in the same 100 days as you. Okay, so I wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And absolutely. I was pretty much going to say the same thing. Like, you're definitely a unique case, I would say, obviously, for Steemit. And, exactly what you just said. Don't, anybody listening out there, don't think that you have to have been to those same levels at this point in your first 100 days or whatnot. Absolutely not. But the biggest thing out there, I would say, is just as long as people are enjoying themselves, and I think you should get a little more sleep, Cork. I'm gonna say it, but
Everyone thinks I should get a little more sleep. Now, look, I'm taking baby steps. I've started eating once a day, a good solid meal every. I show pictures now at this point. I'm back to Facebooking on Steemit because everybody demands to see that I've eaten every day. People, I love you that you're concerned about me. I really do, and I can go a long ways on a peanut butter sandwich. So, in between what I know I can handle and what I should do, let's just keep me alive.
Yeah,
Thank you for helping.
absolutely. And I think it's interesting to hear your process of how you did become a witness and all those things too, because that's something I don't know anything about as far as Steemit goes. I really don't know anything about how the witnessing works at all. So it's
And
always
you want to tune in next Monday night for Monday Night Minnow School when my special guest is none other than Mr. Tim Cliff, and that crumbling noise you hear is my dog just grinding the crap out of her dog food behind me.
oh,
Sorry
it's
about
okay. We've
that.
had a lot of realistic noises on the show tonight, so.
Yeah. Well, I sit on, yeah, but the dog, she likes to dig in her dog food, and it's really annoying while I'm on the radio. That said, next week, Monday Night Minnow School will be Tim Cliff. I'm waiting for his double confirmation. He's already confirmed once. So we will be getting into what a witness is and what a witness does next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 12 midnight UTC 0. Anyway, so that's how we can get you filled in their main event on what a witness is all about.
Well, that's very cool. And yeah, so again, your show is Monday night again at what time on the radio?
Monday Night Minnow School, which is effectively a show about philosophy and success on the Steemit blockchain, a Steem blockchain, Steemit platform, and in your life in general. 8 p.m. Monday nights, Eastern Standard Time, and 12 o'clock midnight UTC 0. So that puts it at 1 a.m. in London, 8 p.m. in Washington, D.C., and then roll across the country in America with 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Pacific. Wherever you are in the world, do the math. If you're in India Standard Time, it's 9.5 hours forward, so it's at 9:30 a.m. The Philippines, I believe, are at 8:30 a.m. I've about got most of the time zones figured out for my listeners. If you need to know what time my show is on, direct message me, and I will absolutely make sure you don't miss it.
And of course, you're usually on the air other times during the week too, but those are
I do
to
pirate
be
shows, and then
announced.
of course I'm most fun. The most fun that I get to have on the radio is on Friday nights when I do the Blow and Steam Friday Night Big Show with Crimson Clad, where we come on and play music, and it's flat out popular music, commercial music. We pay the royalties, we pay the fees, and we have a great time playing music from again 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time until I quit, which is often 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. So you'll get a good 7-8 hour run of killer music. We span the decades from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to now, and play pretty much everything and anything. I'll generally start out with classic rock, get into some dance music through the night. It gets dirty, it gets funny. We take our pants off, we have a good time. Friday night is so much fun. And Crimson, of course, comes on the air with me for that show, and it's just hilarity ensues. So please join us on Friday nights for the most fun you'll have on the radio, the most interesting show on the air. I will say that with all the DJs in the room and get beat up for it later.
Haha. We got it recorded now, so
Crap, you have to hold me to the standard now.
you can use it as a liner on your show if you have to.
Try to keep up, kids. But we have a good time. We have a good time.
Absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. Let's do a few shout outs to the MSP Waves audience chat room members right now because they're out there patiently listening to us.
You shout out. I want to shoot the T-shirt cannon.
Yeah,
we don't
do
have
it.
we don't have a T-shirt cannon. Damn it.
Virtual
It's
one.
radio.
Just throw out some emojis or something. Do something.
Rondon, Lady Lauren, Michael David, the Wallflower, who's on the staff as one of our communications team members. Main event, you're on the air. Poetic Snicky, baby. Who else have we got as I scroll back? I see some of the other names. JJ, or as I always think of him, DBZ fan for a while, but JJ, the ever supportive, awesome hubby. Mirror Image, I know Crimson's out there listening. She said so earlier. It just goes on and on. Cubby's back in the list here. I don't know how far you want me to scroll, but
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to give them a little shout out here. I like
love those guys.
engaging with them because we are live right now here on the radio. So
Looks like about 15 people listening, somewhere in that range.
awesome, cool. Oh, Creations there's saying hello.
Hi, HZ. What's happening, buddy?
Yep.
They lurk out there. They don't talk. There's Bunny Puppy throwing up a goat to let us know she's in the room.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of listeners won't show up in the chat. They're busy listening and focusing and concentrating. Lady Lauren caught a free virtual T-shirt from the virtual T-shirt cannon. Way to go, lady.
We need some MSP Waves T-shirts, I think.
We're working on that with Disarranged Jane and Globocop from the Chaos Show. Disarranged has got some, Jane has got some T-shirt connections. Of course, half of us are designers. We're gonna come up with some good stuff, just one thing at a time. Thanks, HC. Appreciate that comment.
Yeah, I'm
What
just
else you
saying
got?
happy
What
to
else
them.
you got, man? You got questions? We've got answers.
Well, we got about 20 minutes here, so yeah, we can take this really anywhere. It looks like we do have a few of the DJs are out there. Rondon's listening. I'm sure Globo's around.
Well, you know,
Um,
if it's the DJs in the crowd, for the most part, they know this story. Why don't you
right.
ask me some really off the wall questions or something that no one could know? I don't know what they would be, but I already know that I've told this story to you and to Rondon and the crew. So
All right, so how long has the station existed now? It's been about what? How many weeks?
we're in week 7, Monday Night Minnow School. That's how I remember was
So,
number 7. So this is the 7th week we're in the middle of right now, which would put us at, what is that, 37, no, 45 days ish, right in there, 40 days.
where would you like to see the station go from here? I'm kind of curious. Like, what because you know what's on the air right now as far as shows and programs, and of course there are a lot of open time slots and things like that. So, what are you kind of hoping kind of comes from it in the next, let's say, the next month or so?
In the next month or so, I want to continue to work on the fundamentals. The guys on the team and the ladies on the team have done a tremendous job of working out our technology issues. We've worked out most of the licensing, and we're going to be doing our first royalty reporting, and I have some programming to do for that. But in the next month, I want to see us continuing to take on new DJs and adding new shows to the schedule, which is always happening. There's several in the pipeline right now to be interviewed, and we go through a pretty rigorous protocol to onboard a DJ because of the commitment required to do the shows and the equipment required. And we want to make sure the content is compatible with our ethos and beliefs and philosophies and so on. But there's, building the DJ team, building the reach of the station through promotion. We're getting our show averages up. We're now reaching over a dozen countries on half a dozen continents, according to the stats. We're reaching a pretty consistent 15 to 20 users per hour listening, which is not where I want to be. I want to be in the 1,500 to 2,000 to 20,000 listeners range over time. But that takes time. And honestly, there's only about 30,000 people a day who actually log into Steemit. So our first source of promotion is Steemit. If we reached every single user that logs into the platform during a 24-hour period, at most we could hit 30,000 listeners per, and they're not going to all listen to every show. They're on a 24-hour day, so I'm okay with the small numbers of audience right now, but I want that to change. And the way we're going to do that is to first fill the schedule, refine the process and the quality of the shows. And by quality, I mean the delivery quality. The shows are great. The people are great that are on the shows, and the things they talk about are great. We have amazing content. What we don't have necessarily is seamless audio and glitchy technology because internet. So I want to work out some of the stuff like that. And then I want to expand our reach to other platforms, meaning we currently broadcast through Twitch TV, which is what you're all listening to. There are dozens of other platforms where we can send our signal. And the engine that we've built, the back infrastructure that we've built, allows for us to split the signal and send it to, I'm going to say one that I don't think we can actually do, but just to give you a for instance, we could send it to Facebook Live or to Periscope on Twitter. Or to YouTube Live. YouTube Live is an option, I believe. Facebook Live, because of the way it works, may not be. That said, that's the concept, right? So get out from just Twitch TV to extending to other platforms. Ideally, potentially in the future, what I really see long term as opposed to short term, all the stuff in the short term, the answer to your 1 month from now, fundamentals. We're 7 weeks old. Fill the schedule, get the schedule consistent. Get the DJ quality consistent with the radio feeds and the volumes and the sound. It's got to sound like one seamless station, given that the DJs are located in 15 countries, and we're all doing it from laptops and computers of different viscosity and all that. So we get all that refined. We get it all ironed out and wrinkle free. and then we march out and we roll out across the internet, and then we roll out to cable radio and satellite radio and the dashboards of cars. And you think it sounds insane, but it's actually not that hard. Once we've got the infrastructure that we already have, we can point it at these services and send our signal there. And at most, there might be a fee to broadcast into them, so it's paying money and setting it up, configuring it. But it's possible for us to actually get our radio feed literally worldwide. It's already available worldwide, but if you listen on low bandwidth, and I've heard from some of my users in Lagos, Africa, they have trouble because they don't have good internet. But if we can get it on satellite or shortwave, they can listen to it. So I want to get into packet radio. I want to get into, it's possible that I could see putting up at some point in the distant future, 5 years out, an antenna on top of the mountain that I own. I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I have a 360-degree view peak with, cell towers interested in purchasing my land. I have a spot for an aerial to put it up and then get on a repeater and go into like the iHeartRadio world. I can't remember the name of their organization that does the iHeartRadio stations, but it's the one that you hear in your car every day on FM. I want to get us out there. And to do that, a few things have to happen. Fundamentals, and then expansion of the blockchain. So we've got to keep building up Steemit and BusyBB, or BusyOrg and ChainBB, and the other platforms that feed people into this ecosystem. We've got to reach those people, and they've got to reach their friends. But it's only a matter of time till your car dashboard is already capable, in most manufacturers, of having a stereo in it that can play podcasts like iTunes and stream things. So when your cars are all 4G, you'll be listening to us while you drive to work 24/7. We already provide 24/7 broadcasting. We do about 70 hours worth of live in 7 weeks. So when I make these ambitious claims, I don't make them lightly. I also make them with pretty good confidence in the group that's behind it, the volunteer effort that happens to make this all work. All of you, whether it's Rondon on the back end, who I tease all the time, but I know he's a fantastic asset. Main Event, who brings our DJs on board and gets that sound quality just right, makes this show that he does the best sounding one as the example. Then UniWisp, who onboards people and brings them into the process and gets them on the schedule and handles a lot of administrative stuff on the website. We've got Globocop, who's doing amazing stuff with the operational endeavors behind the system, policies, procedures, documentation. Just amazing amounts of work come out of each person. Inquiring Times and Jesse, the Wallflower, who do our communications and publications through the ops department. We've got the additional DJs who step up and take care of a lot of things, like Crimson and Shane and yourself, Maine, and several hats, and myself. And there's quite a group of people and quite an organization that's formed behind this. And so when we talk about what we want to do, one of the things that I want to talk about, it gets talked about on some of the shows, and I'm going to talk about it again. It was just published today by Inquiring Times in one of his blogs that you can go to at Inquiring Times over on Steemit and check it out to read for yourself. But let me make sure I've got it in this document here, is our mission statement. To answer your question about why we exist, let me just find the mission statement. Now, as a group, Inquiring Times one day said, we're a pretty big organization now. We should probably have a mission statement to summarize, get everybody on the same page. I said, that's a brilliant idea. Start one. And then together we kind of kicked one off and put it into an editor, and the team worked on it. I know we've spent a lot of time, and I'm not letting you talk much, man. I feel pretty crappy about that. But you asked me the question. I really want to give people the answer.
Don't feel crappy about it. That's how these work.
we can go if you got another hour and people want to hang out.
I want people to get to know you a little better. That's kind of the idea of this show. So
well, getting to know me is get to know the people under around me, the team that supports me, because that's how I became who I am. It was the moderator squad over there, Shane and Muxie and Crimson and Samo, that were here at first. It was the four of them really that were the first mods I encountered. That at Aggroed at that time was spinning a lot back. When I first joined PAL, it was a week old. I was a week old, and so was the PAL Discord. I joined it when it was 1 week old, and it was just a handful of us in there. So I've grown up with these people, and they've raised me up like they wanted me. I came in like a wrecking ball. They've turned me into a useful tool. And you can make all the puns you want out of that. So at the end of the day, what I learned here was that kindness costs nothing. Thank you, Crimson. that sometimes I'm an asshole and I need to walk off the field. Thank you, Muxie and Shane. Samo, who taught me things about community and building projects, and so on. So when we got to the mission of the radio finally as a group and decided that it needed to get some purpose, this is what we came up with. Is the duty, mission, and honor of MSP Waves Radio and of all our associated personnel to help people, whomever, whenever, wherever, and however we are able. The ideals which guide us to serve this community are kindness, care, servitude, as well as the virtues of benevolence and generosity. Fueled by gratitude, we seek every opportunity to benefit the community to the best of our ability. These fundamental principles align with those of our parent organization, the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Network, or PAL. Our participation as the broadcast component of the Minnow Support Project reflects the values of the MSP Waves radio crew and the creed of the Minnow Support Project. So that summary is where we're going. We're going forward into the world to help people, and that might be to help them through informational shows like UniWISP's Emotion Integration Show, or Whip Girl's Mental Performance Hacking Show, or Rondon's free speech show called Freeze Peach, or it could just be as simple as rocking out their Friday night, putting smiles on faces of people who are typically sitting at home alone in front of a computer and don't have maybe somewhere to go, and they feel lonely, but they can come to our audience channel and be uplifted and laugh with us and dance with us. We do a lot of chair dancing on Friday night in front of our computers. I get up and dance in the studio, and we love each other. The audience and the DJs are having a love affair. So whatever we can do, wherever we can do it. The goal is not to become a profit organization. It's not to become a company. It's to empower voices, to reach people, to empower people with education and so on our show. We have fiction workshop shows. We have, gosh, I mean, I could go read the schedule, but so can you. It's at mspwaves.com. There's 24 shows now or something like that. Help people. Now, if we start making any money from any kind of promotional efforts or delegations or donations, which are not necessarily on the table right now, I'm pretty much funding this out of my own pocket, paying for the servers and all of those things. We have a foundation established in MSP. Another side thing that came of building the radio station was my interest was that a whale got interested in us, and as a result created a foundation that will now fuel many MSP efforts, starting with the radio station as a test. And that's called the MSP Foundation. It has an account on Steemit as well. The blockchain is transparent. You can see where the money goes. That system allows this whale to lease his money, create income, uses the profit from that income
Hey,
to
Cork.
pay for the radio station.
Cork.
Yes.
I don't know. Somebody's saying in the chat that they lost our audio. I hear you fine.
I hear you.
I never lost you.
I hear me. Yeah, let's see what's up.
It might have been a Twitch skip. I don't
Well,
know.
the other thing is that we'll get one person who loses the audio,
Right.
and everybody else is fine. So
I don't know. I saw a few people with sad faces, but it was Rondon. Rondon said he lost it. So
they say we're back. It's fine. So okay, where did we leave off? Somebody put in the 7-second delay. The last thing you heard. And I'll say that we were talking about the mission statement and where we're going. So if we ever make any money, that money is going to go into radio station promotions where we can help people. If you've heard my Monday Night Minnow School, which is the one I can speak to the most, we have actually done a show on teamwork where the audience gathered money, had a little scavenger hunt for people on the blockchain that were in dire need of some assistance, voted as a group during the show on who they wanted to help, and pooled their funds, which the radio station then donated to the person. That's the kind of help that we can do together with our audience during our shows to achieve service work, to serve the community and individuals across the world, which is my personal mission here on the chain. It's my impetus behind the radio station's fundamental mission, which originally as a founder, I had a lot of influence over. And I accepted that influence and used it to do good as much as I could. Our mission is to help others. Real simple. Service. And we did the Monday Night Minnow show about that topic. So that's where we're going. We're going forward to save the world. We're saving the world. And that took us up to 10 minutes before the hour. I don't know if you want to try to squeeze another question in or if you want to keep going all night. I'm here.
No, we'll probably wind it down near the top of the hour here, but Let's see. We could even ask anybody out in the audience if they have any questions. I don't get to do this very
What do you
often.
ask me anything? It's a Reddit moment. I am
Right.
Sir Cork AMA.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so everybody's hopefully back on the air with us. They all said, Lauren said that it was gone for about a minute. Creative Soul said it was off.
Yeah, they're saying we cut
Um,
in about the funding. I can summarize that really quickly. A foundation has been established by a whale, which is leasing money that makes a profit. That profit is being funneled back into MSP projects, with the radio station being the first trial for this whole experiment. As that increases and he brings other funding from other whales into the foundation will lease that money out on the open market, make a profit from leasing it, and pay for MSP projects with that money. It's all transparent. It's on the blockchain. You can look at MSP-Foundation to see that blockchain wallet and see the money being funneled to the station. Right now, it's making like a whopping $60 a month in profit, which we're paid here at the station like weekly or now monthly as we start to take on a little steam with that amount of money. Pardon the pun, steam. And that money will go right into paying for servers and internet services and monitoring services and royalty and licensing and so on. So what
awesome.
other questions do we have? Poetic Snake wants to know when she gets her tail rubbed. We'll slither on over here and sit on my lap, baby. Who else
Right.
have we got?
She's been on the show before, so if you missed that, you can go back and hear her interview. Lady Lauren's also been on the show. She's listening right now. Let's see who else is out there. Inquiring Times is here. The Wallflowers here. HZ's here. Michael David's still hanging out.
The Wallflower is asking the question, what is the link for MSP fundraising? Don't misunderstand. We're not asking the public for money at this time. So there is no fundraising link.
Right.
There is a foundation established by a whale. And as he put it to me when we established this relationship, he came to me and he actually was a fan of the radio station. The radio station attracted a whale that loved us. And he also loves MSP. And so he established good question, lady. I'll cover that in a second. He established the foundation. He said to me, Cork, you do the business of operating a radio station. Volunteers are not very good with money. I said, okay, that's a fair statement. I'm crappy with money. He says, I'm a guy who's made it. You can tell, he wasn't being egotistical. He's just like, I'm a money guy. That's what I do. So let the money guys handle the money and let the radio guys handle the radio. And I'll do this with the MSP Creative Bot and other projects as well as we grow. So he's out there in a way fundraising, but that means he's convincing other whales to bring tens of thousands of dollars into the lease market and share the profits with our projects. So that's being handled by an organization called the MSP-Foundation. We are MSP-Waves on Steemit. Please follow both. So that's how that works. We don't take public money right now. I pay for most things out of my pocket, and these $60-odd from these initial lease trials that just started a few weeks ago goes right into the station account, and I mostly give it away on the air to contests that we hold, where I'm going to tell you guys a secret right now on behalf of the station that I shouldn't leak, but I'm going to let you in on it. Little secret from Sir Cork while he's being interviewed and not officially being a DJ. I give the money to the people in the audience who have the smallest wallets and the newest accounts. Most of the time, if I can rig a contest in favor of someone in Somalia over someone in Southern California, no offense, California, but I'm going to help the person that doesn't have any food. So, I pick and choose a little bit, but I am also fair, and we try to have fun with it. And we never, one time I did a show where Jeff, follow BTC News, who's a witness much higher ranking than me and quite successful on the platform, won the contest, and it was about $20 on the line. And I said, Jeff, you won. And it was not only that, but he walked into the show. It was a trivia game. He literally logged in, answered the question before I finished the sentence with a flat guess, and won. We didn't even get to finish the contest. I said, I'm not giving you the money, Jeff, in front of everybody on the air. I said, Jeff, I'm not giving you the money. Sorry. I'm going to run the contest and give it to somebody else. And I did give it to the person with the smallest wallet. And, everyone in the audience was like, he's going to beat you up. And I said, no, he's not, because we're friends and brothers and witnesses, and we're doing this because we live in service. We're helping people. So there you go. Questions that came up that are real easy and real quick. Sir Cork, what's my favorite hair care product? Shampoo. 99 cents from the dollar store. What's my favorite movie, TV show? I haven't owned a television since 2003. The one that I owned in 2003 was used by my child and my ex-wife. I don't watch television. I haven't in probably 25 or 30 years. I really don't have a clue. I mean, I've caught the shows. I've never seen Game of Thrones once. I never watched any
I haven't
Breaking
either.
Bad.
I haven't either.
Never seen a single episode of Breaking Bad.
Me
My
either.
favorite movie, I do watch some movies now and then because you can stream them on the internet. And every now and then there's nothing else to do, but that's rare. Grandma's Boy, which is an Adam Sandler production, but he's not in it. Funny movie about computer guys, kind of the story of my career in a movie. So, Grandma's Boy is my favorite movie. Television shows, I don't have one, but if I did have one, I have streamed and binge watched about 6 times in a row the entire set of series, The Trailer Park Boys, which is a Canadian thing out of Nova Scotia. So,
Yep.
very funny series and kind of lowbrow humor, but just suited me. The IT Crowd, some stuff like that that I've streamed online. What else have we got for questions?
I think
No,
that's most of the ones from the audience as of right now. But again, we're visiting with Sir Cork, obviously, everybody. Like I said, there may be a few people out there who don't know you, but I'm sure most of them do. And my name is Main Event. We're hanging out on the Main Event Interview Show here on MSP Waves Radio. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And this is my first time being on Wednesday nights. So this will be the new show time every Wednesday, 10 o'clock Universal Time, 6 o'clock on the East Coast of the U.S., and all the other times, I don't know, you'll have to figure that out. But it's
MSPwaves.com homepage has the full schedule in
absolutely.
UTC 0. Just subtract or add your time zone. Like I'm in the East Coast, so it's -4. It's just whatever the time on the clock on the schedule says, -4 hours for me. And for whatever you are, you do that same math. Google can help you convert. Go to Google and type in 8 p.m. UTC in IST, India Standard Time, and it'll tell you the conversion.
Speaking of
Easy
that,
peasy.
do we have another show coming on or anything like that? It is the top of the hour. We can go a few more minutes if you want, but I don't know if we have another show coming on or anything.
I'll check the schedule, but I don't think there's anybody after you. In fact, I might take it and play some music for a
Yeah,
while
that would
if
be
all else
cool.
fails.
Yep.
I've got OBS running, so I would be easily and seamless to kind of flip over. But I'm happy to keep talking to you. And I'm honestly, there's something else I want to add. Two things that I want to say to you. I'm going to steal Crimson's line. Kindness costs nothing. Remember that. Keep being kind to each other. And my line, teamwork makes the steam dream work. Those are the two things I want you to take away if you ignored the rest of everything I said tonight. And one last thought. If you're watching television at any point during this week and you come to me and ask me how to get followers, my first answer is going to be turn off your television. There you go.
There you go. Well said. Yeah, I mean, people who are listening out there, I mean, the follower thing is interesting actually because I mean, everybody always talks about like follow for follow and all this stuff. I mean, I've got like 800 followers, but that doesn't mean I get 800 votes on my stuff either,
No,
though.
negative. No, a
You
thousand. Oh,
know.
so I put up a post. My best post ever was $96 or something like that. It was the one where I dissected Streamian's login, and that was 3 months ago. My best post recently has been about $60. It comes from about 45 votes. It happens that I have a few very large voters
Right.
that have followed me since I've become somewhat high profile. So.
Lauren wanted to know what your favorite food was.
So I live in a small town now. I love so many kinds of food, and there's two kinds of food that I miss very much that I absolutely cannot get within 50 miles of my house, and that is Thai food and Indian food. I love curry, and I love any kind of Thai dish really at all. That said, where I tend to eat 5 days a week when people make me show my pictures, I love white pizza, which is mozzarella and basil on a pesto sauce. It's not a red sauce and it's not a pepperoni pizza. I love those too. I love every kind of pizza, but my favorite is white pizza. My favorite main thing that I eat the most is the China buffet because it's the closest to the Thai and the Indian and the spicy and all of those things. So Chinese, Indian, I eat a lot of Japanese, I eat sushi. I will eat anything really that's available that doesn't take any time so that I can get back to work serving and doing and accomplishing things because I'm insane.
Your character, that's for sure.
Right now, today, I'll tell you what I ate today as an example. Today for lunch, I did go out to eat and I went and had Pizza Hut buffet, which I don't do very often at all because the Pizza Hut in my town is kind of shabby. But I've eaten the other white pizza like 13 times in the last 20 days. No, not really, but I just wanted to change the pace. So I went to the Pizza Hut so I could get a salad and eat some pizza. And then tonight, I've got a Baby Ruth candy bar and a Dr. Pepper. And that's my meals for today.
Well, whatever works for you, man. You know, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I haven't really eaten dinner yet either. Actually, I came home and had to do a few things here before the radio show, so I need to do that too. But let's see, who else is out here in the chat room? Shadow's Pub is out there. He wants to know, how small is your small town? I'm also in a really small area.
I can tell you that the county I live in, if you know what a county is, if you're in America, 12,000 people. That's a number I know. The town I live in, the city, it's actually a city, it's the county seat. My office building is next door to the town hall and or to the city hall and a block from the courthouse, the county courthouse. About 5,000 people. So the town I live in is the same size as PAL MSP. And it's an interesting allegory because AgRoad likes to talk about how the Minnow Support Project Pond is a town and that the staff is kind of like the town council and that the various channels are like the various businesses in the town that you can visit and do things in. So it's an interesting metaphor because my high school that I grew up in Northern Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., had 4,000 students in it. My graduating class had 1,300 students in it. My town here has 5,000 people. So it's really small for me by my standards. I live on 17 acres of land. It's uncleared. It's mountaintop land. It's beautiful, and I love it, and I'm very proud to have it. It's very cheap land. That's part of the reason why I came here. It's very remote, very rural. There's no amenities. The food choices are limited. The restaurants I go to tend to be pizza, barbecue, Chinese buffet, McDonald's, Waffle House, and the grocery store. You know,
So
that's about it.
fortunately, apparently, we aren't having any issues, but apparently Twitch might be. So
Okay.
they all had to
Well,
refresh again, but whatever. That's okay. It's I don't
well,
think
we're
they.
getting the recording, so you'll be able
Right,
to republish this with the full recording and hear
right,
everything. I need to do
absolutely.
all of mine as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, and of course I can run long, so just take me where you want me to go.
Well, let's see who is still out there listening. First of all, let's check on that. I don't know if we've lost everybody because of those issues or anything, but um, let's see. Lauren's still here. Rondon's here. Uh, let's see who's still talking. If you're here and you can hear us, please let us know. We certainly don't want to be talking to dead air or anything. Um, hopefully, you can hear us pretty good out there. Bunny Puppy's typing, I see. Lady Lauren's wondering what's next on the schedule. It sounds like it's going to be Sir Cork, maybe, on the air, up next. Maybe
Let's
going to.
confirm that. I don't mind playing some music for a while, and if people want to keep asking me questions, I'll keep answering them. I enjoy doing that. I like talking about myself. We all like to talk about ourselves. No, I really don't want to talk about myself. I want to stress so hard the two things that are so important to me. Don't try to meet my numbers. You'll never make it. I'm sorry. And I'm not being egotistical. There are very few people who can live the lifestyle I live. The other side of that is do everything that you can do with your time and maximize your time. Turn off your damn televisions and write something on Steemit. Television isn't paying you $10 for an hour's worth of writing, you know, or watching. Now, on the schedule after us, as I look over here, we are running your show. Where the
I
heck
think
is your
somebody
show on
comes
the
on.
schedule?
I'm Wednesday night now. I think somebody doesn't somebody come on in a few hours.
So it was e-steamed earlier.
Yep.
Then the main event, live stream and interviews and content trends from 10 to midnight. It is 5 after midnight. The next thing to come up after that would be not until tomorrow afternoon with emotion integration with
Ah.
UniWisp at 3 p.m. UTC 0, which puts her at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10 a.m. in Central Time and 9 a.m. in Mountain Time and 8 a.m. in California. So those people can listen to her if they have the right devices or they use their cell phones and 4G and headphones in their car on the way to work. And then in London, she would be on at 2 in the afternoon. And then take it from there. If she's on at 3 p.m. on UTC 0 and you're in India, 9.5 hours forward from here, then it'd be 11 here. It would be 8:30 p.m. in India. So you have to do the math, but we can help you with that. And we are working to make the schedule to where you can click it to your time zone and do that. But we're using a basic WordPress plugin for radio stations that doesn't accommodate time zones. It's intended to be used by an FM station in one city. We'll fix it. Give us time.
We're
That's
getting
part of the fundamentals,
there.
you know.
Absolutely. So again, we've been visiting with Sir Cork, the we should call you what the station manager of MSP
Yeah,
Waves.
I think the official words, if we had to go present ourselves to a courthouse to pay the royalty fees, would be general manager or
Right.
station manager. General manager is usually, I think, the term they use. But I'm just the guy that started it. You guys are the ones that do the work. Rondon, Main Event, UniWisp, Globocop, Inquiring Times. Jesse has just joined us. Crimson does a lot that she won't admit to. Crimson Clad. Who am I forgetting? Main. That's 7, 8 of us already. Myself, Sir
All
Cork.
the DJs, of course. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. The DJs. So
there's so many of you, but I
I,
mean,
I do
you
draw
guys
a
are
line,
awesome.
and I draw a line between the people that are operations of the station and then the show hosts. The show hosts and hostesses are wonderful, and any given hosts are telling me that, for example, to do the From the Ground Up Lazy Sundays show with Mackenzie Gary, which is an amazing show that features Steemit creative people. There's several shows like that. Shane and Iseria do Steemit creative. That's called Steemit creative. From the ground up, though, just as an example, I've had a conversation with him I can speak to. He'll spend up to 10 hours preparing his show to do a 2-hour show on Sunday afternoon. So you've got 12 hours of work in one DJ for one show. Multiply that across 20 plus shows, and you can see that there are literally hundreds of hours of work that go into the programming that we bring to you each week. And we're not even to, I would say, 20% of the schedule is full. We do need DJs. It's not easy to get onto our team. We have some pretty gated protocols. You have to commit. You have to install software. You have to buy the right microphone, which it can be a bunch of different ones, but it has to be good enough quality, and it has to be more than a $5 microphone. Doesn't have to be more than a $50 microphone, though. It's easy enough to be accessible to nearly anyone. And if you want to be a show host and you have content and you have a quality voice that you want to share with the community, but you can't afford a microphone, get a hold of me, because we're not going to let that stop you. I'll make it happen one way or another. That said, I can't buy 8. If we get a full schedule, we will have 84 shows, 84 hosts. I can't buy, $8,400 worth of microphones this week. But don't let not having the resources stop you from approaching us to do a show. If you think you can spend the time, 2 to 10. I walk into my shows cold and just do them 2 hours a week for a show for me, 2 hours. But there are people doing 10 hours of prep and going and finding content and pre-recording some of it and, creating bits and gags and, recording those and skits and things. So get a hold of us if you want to do a show. We really do need hosts in all time zones, in all continents. You should be able to speak English. We would prefer the shows all be in English and accessible to the greatest listening audience. Most of the world can speak English or speak it as a second language or listen to it and understand it. Unfortunately, that does categorically leave out some areas, and I would not be opposed to a show that's not in English, but it's going to have to somehow coincide with the correct time zone and time slots and things like that. So anyway, approach us if you've got content. And the other thing that I would say is that we do play commercial music. We do pay royalties and fees and licenses for that, but we are discouraging music shows. It's very expensive for us to play songs. Each song that we play, we have to pay for the song and the number of people that hear it. We can't replay those shows. They become pretty limited in their effectiveness. So while we're using it now to fill some of the schedule, I expect to be pulling back on the music and ultimately potentially completely eliminating it. Not entirely, ever. It's always great on Friday night to rock out and Saturday night to rock out. But we won't be having a Tuesday afternoon 4-hour, random mix show anymore, because that will go to someone with a voice who can provide something of value or help the community. And that's the goal.
All right. So again, everybody, we've been visiting with Sir Cork. This is the Main Event interview show. We'll probably wind it down there because I think that was a pretty good way to end it. Is there anything else you want to say to the listeners out there? Maybe just like a little word of wisdom as far as Steemit is concerned?
It works if you work it. Go comment, go love each other, stay in the communities, make friends. That's the fundamental platform that your platform will grow on. Those people will lift you up if you lift them up. A rising tide lifts all ships. Teamwork makes the steam dream work. Kindness costs nothing. Turn off your televisions. I love you all. Thank you for being here, because without you, I wouldn't be here. You're my family and my friends, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right. Well said. Great job. So that is Sir Cork, everybody. My name is Main Event. This is the Main Event interview show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.